Story 1. My wife kissed another guy. I didn't care, but now she's mad about my reaction. Sorry if the title doesn't make much sense. I didn't know how to word it. Also on throwaway, as I don't want this on my main. Bit of context. We've been together since we were 18. Never had a great sex life after the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most since then, but at the minute it's going on 3 years, and although it bothers me, I love her and I love our kids, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I know plenty of friends in the same situation. Another bit of context is that I've always been mildly overweight but always fit, as I played a lot of sports until about 10 years ago when I got really ill and a mixture of meds and comfort eating made me balloon up to nearly 300 pounds. Well, 2 years ago I decided to do something about it. I'm now around 200, which at 6 feet 2 inches is the lightest I've been as an adult, and I've actually enjoyed using weights and for the first time in my life have a bit of abs and some muscle. My wife, having always been far hotter, is pretty obviously insecure about the fact that for the first time we've been together, women are starting to look at me and message me on my baking pages on social media. For the record, I've never even looked at another woman in that way. On to the night in question. My wife went out with some friends, a mix of singles and in a relationship. She looked stunning and I told her so. I even updated my phone home screen to that picture of her, LOL. One of the friends she was out with messaged me about 3 months and the gist was she knows I get no sex. My wife doesn't realize how lucky she is and basically, do I want to hook up? I obviously instantly take a screenshot and send it to my wife. Around 4 a.m. my wife gets home and she wakes me up as she gets into bed. I'm half awake but can tell something is wrong and ask what the matter is. She doesn't say anything for a few seconds, and as I go to grab her hand she pulls away. I ask if she wants me to get her a drink and she says no. Then she just blurts it out and says, I met a guy tonight, he kissed me. I didn't kiss back at first, then I did. Then for the next half hour we were dancing and constantly kissing. She kept saying sorry and begging me not to leave her. My honest first reaction was, so what, it's only kissing and dancing. I didn't say that, I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. An hour or so later, once I got the right words in my head, I said, I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and break up our family over some kissing and dancing, and I don't love you any less than I did yesterday, and this isn't something that's going to grow and cause and resentment. More or less right on cue my phone goes off and it's that friend of hers with a picture and a video of what my wife was doing. This set my wife off again, but my feelings still haven't changed, and a month later that remains the case. In that month since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't care. She's accused me of kissing other people and more, which is why I didn't care, as I was covering up my own indiscretions, and she's accused me of being gay multiple times, which doesn't make sense. She keeps asking me why I haven't initiated anything with her, even though in the past she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her, which I have respected. She's basically projecting, and it's annoying me as it's putting a strain on us, which she is 100% causing. How do I get through to her that she needs to stop feeling guilty and just move on because I have, as it's not a big deal? I was genuinely more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat, LOL. TLDR, wife kissed another man. I don't care, and now she's causing problems because she's guilty and projecting. How do I stop this? Edit. Hi all, just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really do appreciate it, and I'm overwhelmed you all took the time. I keep getting asked a few questions, so thought I'd address them here. Over the years we have been to a few different couples counselors and sex therapists, the latest being last September for both. My wife always feels like she's being victimized by them, and we stopped going. Nearly all have said though they think she is asexual, and two even saying she is displaying a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian, which I have brought up to her before and she is adamant she's not. On that note, I've had a lot of messages saying she wants to feel wanted and for me to be more forward with her. This is not true. In all our sessions she said she doesn't want me trying it on with her. She doesn't even want me to initiate hugs, and just bringing up sex makes her feel under pressure. She let me, and our therapists, know that if she ever sex without her initiating, it will be no more than pity sex. As for people saying I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday on the way home from work, I bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend, I send her voice notes of songs I'm listening to that remind me of her, I tell her I love her every day, I run her a bath every night. This isn't me showing off, this is how I was brought up to show love. For those saying I must have been brought up in an unloving home, people have said that I don't get jealous, I don't love her. If she told me she was having an emotional affair, she spent hours on the phone with someone else laughing and joking, she snuggled on a sofa eating chocolates and watching TV with someone, etc., I'd be devastated. A dance and a kiss isn't a big deal to me and not even close to divorce. Thank you all again for reading. Second edit. Sorry for these. It's 7 a.m. in the morning here now, the day after I posted this. Been talking to my wife since 6 and said she's got a week to agree to go back to couples counseling and she's got to stick it out this time and not just accuse them of taking sides and refuse to go back. She said no. She said they all bully her and make her out to be the bad guy. She said I went back on my word that I forgive her and won't resent her. I said this isn't about the kiss, it's about her reaction since the kiss and that it feels like she's purposely trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She just got up and stormed out the room. She then got dressed and said she's going out until I go to work. Update 1. It's been nearly 2 weeks since I made the post and the short update is that we are getting divorced. I said in my last post I told her I wanted us to go back to couples counseling and sex therapy. She said no to both as we went before and she felt bullied. She said it's sex therapy that unless she initiates touching, not just sex, any touching like hugs or hand holding, it will be against her will and will be forced/bitty affection from her. The sex therapist said that's very unreasonable and that's why she felt bullied there. I tried to ask her a few questions too. Are you a lesbian or at least bi? Don't be stupid. Are you asexual? I'm not a teenager with a stupid label. What did he have that I don't? Nothing, I just wanted to do it. Why don't you ever want to do that with me? Don't know. What can I do to make you want to do that to me? Don't know. Do you want me to take the initiative and try it on with you more? Fuck no, I'll tell you when I want it, don't guess. So she refused the therapy and gave me no straight answers. She has also said I've gone back on my word about not letting the kiss split us up because now it is. I said it's not the kiss, it's your behavior since then that has caused me to want to divorce. She said as it's my decision to divorce and it's all my fault, then I should be the one to tell out kids and she will have no part of it. That was hard. As soon as they were told, my wife left for her sister's and in the 3 days since I haven't heard anything from her. I've tried speaking to her about the kids as they miss her, but she reads my messages and ignores me. A lot of people asked about the friend and why they still talk after she tried it on with me. How I understand it is my wife tried to get the friend group to cut the friend out, but they all pretty much refused, and so my wife just chose to ignore her in group settings. On the night in question, the friend approached my wife and told her if she didn't tell me she would send me the video. So my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced. I've also spoke to a couple of other friends in the group and asked what's been going on. I'm not privy to. Apparently my wife was sexting her friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. My wife has also been boasting about how she has me under the thumb and she gets away with giving me nothing and I'm too scared to ask. The friend apparently saw me out shopping one day and decided I was now more fuckable and thought she'd try and exact some revenge on my wife. So she didn't really want me, I was just a pawn in this weird friend group's one of many internal beefs with each other which I've found out about in the last few days. Basically they all seem to hate each other and mess with each other's partners. I'll be honest now and I feel incredibly guilty about it, but when she left my body and soul seemed to take a massive sigh of relief. It was like a black cloud that was dripping eggshells on the floor for me to constantly avoid as gone. I feel terrible for feeling this way, but I feel like I'm 6 feet 2 inches height now, rather a browbeaten 3 foot who was scared to even say anything for fear of being told I'm wrong or insulted or ridiculed. It's like the blinkers have been taken off. Spent the day today baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs and watching cartoons, and I haven't stopped smiling all day. I haven't winced or broke out in a sweat worrying I'm about to be told off about being too noisy or watching the wrong thing on TV or there's a wrapper on the floor, etc. Thank you everyone for your support on my last post. I appreciate you all. Update 2. Sorry for updating here, I'm only allowed to make one update. Also want to thank everyone again for their concern and kindness they've shown me on my 2 posts, and also thank you to everyone on Bora who made some lovely comments after my post was shared on there. Unfortunately the post was locked before I found out, so I couldn't thank you all personally. After my last update a lot of people commented and messaged me to say that am I sure my kids are mine. This thought never entered my head until I read what people said. Last Thursday I ordered a paternity test, sent it Friday and awaiting the results. At this point I don't really care, it won't change my love for them, but I'm terrified if they come back as not biologically mine I'll lose them. I discussed this with my lawyer last week, who said if they aren't mine it will be much harder to get even any kind of custody. I told him if it comes to that then I'll keep fighting until the end. Blood or no, they are my boys. Speaking of the boys, my STBX has seen them a couple of times with her mom, who is genuinely a nice person, and the kids have been fine. I can't say the same about my baking equipment though. She came into the house on Friday last week when she knew I was out and took a lot of it and purposely broke some bits she knew had sentimental value to me that came from my grandma and my mom. I can't prove she did anything and she brought the stuff back on Sunday and said she just borrowed the items, but I love baking and she is slowly ruining it for me. I'd already deleted my Instagram page because she was insecure about the women who followed me, and this time she must have remembered I was making a cake for my niece's birthday and tried to sabotage it. I've made notes and screenshots of everything. As a lot of you rightly predicted, she had also been cheating on me a lot, although no evidence of it being physical yet from what I can tell. Her friend, who is also in this WhatsApp group where women basically just post nudes and men comment, I still need to get the details of this group so I can finally get to see some boobs again, lol, sent me a lot more screenshots of photos she's taken, all around our house, blatantly her bedroom in some of them, and one even stood against my car. Also, a few of these friends are single, and when they hook up with someone, my wife will add the guy on Facebook and has basically been offering herself to them. One of the friends messaged one of the guys who still had the chats in his Facebook DMs and sent the friend a load of screenshots to send to me. All in all, I must have over 100 screenshots of stuff she's been saying and sending to people, and all of that is within the last couple of years, so it probably goes on further. As for the divorce, still in the early stages. One day I want to fight, the next I just want to give her everything, materially, not the kids, and walk away and start again so I can get this finished and done. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer. It's nearly midnight here, but I'll try to stay up. Update 3. I have moved back to my hometown and given my ex the house. I know people won't be happy with that, but I just wanted a clean break and no ties to her or that city. The kids are with me and see their mom at weekends, provided I make the 5-hour round trip to drop them off on a Saturday morning and then make the same trip Sunday afternoon to pick them up. I know again people will say I'm doing what she wants, but if it makes my kids happy, it makes me happy. She seems okay with this arrangement, although she has flaked twice already. Once the kids say they no longer want to go, I won't take them. The divorce is still going through but won't be done for a few more months yet, according to my lawyer. I'm baking a lot more now and loving it. Thank you everyone who has thought about me, you are all so great. Update 4. I posted on here a few months ago, if you want to look at my profile, read them, about my wife kissing another man on a night out despite not having had sex with me for years. I wasn't bothered and was willing to ignore it and carry on, but she kept making issues over it and eventually we split up. I moved back to my home city about 2 hours away and the kids came with me. My ex-wife said it was too far for her to travel to have them at weekends, so every Saturday morning I've been driving them up to her and then picking them back up Sunday evening so they got to see their mom. We'd make fun trips out of it and would take snacks, play audiobooks, have sing-alongs, etc., but I'd noticed they always seemed happier to be picked up than taken there. I just always assumed it was because all their stuff in their main home was with me. My ex has started to cancel these weekends a bit recently. 3 of the last 5 she's canceled. She started to say things like, they don't like me anyway, and, you've poisoned them, which is not true. I have never said a bad about their mom to them or in front of them and never would. Plus I make 2 4-hour round trips every weekend so she can see them and they can see her. I'll be honest, every Saturday after I drop them off I cry all the way home. I miss them so much. They are my little best mates. Every night after dinner we will all do our chores and do a different activity. Sometimes it's a walk in the woods behind my house, or we bake, or have movie nights, or read books together. I'm quite good with my hands and love making and fixing things, whether it's baking, cooking, DIY or car repairs, and they have started to take an interest too, so we have a couple of projects on the go, like building a kind of Wendy house for them, but it will have games consoles, a fridge for their drinks and snacks, etc. Plus we are also building a couple of petrol go-karts from scratch for them to race at a nearby track when they're done, which they are designing themselves and we are building together. Basically my life is taken up with them in the week, and then at the weekends I feel like a lost zombie until it's time to go get them. Then yesterday I received a short text from her saying she no longer wants to see them. All they do is ask for me anyway. They don't have fun there and they basically get in the way. I was absolutely heartbroken for my boys and I rang her straight away. I'll be honest, I started crying as I felt so bad for them, and she genuinely acted like I was annoying her for wanting to get to the bottom of it. She then said, sounds like you don't want them either and are just trying to palm them off the weekends, and hung up on me. I don't even know how I'm going to tell them this. Do I just say she's cancelled for a few weeks and see how it goes? Do I tell them the truth? How do I say it in a way that kids will understand and won't absolutely crush them? Then I've got the conflicted selfish emotion of pure joy that I'll have the whole weekends with them. It's so selfish of me, I know, as they're going to be sad while I'm happy. Has anyone been in a similar situation from my side or the kids' side? How do I handle this? Update 5. So as far as her giving up her rights as parent, it's a lot harder than I thought. Both my lawyer and hers have told me that it's hard to do this in the UK, and neither of them have seen a judge allow it unless there is a physical or sexual chance of harm to the children. However, they have both also said they've never presented a case like this to a judge where both parties agree to it fully. They've drafted an agreement where we both agree to my ex-wife no longer have responsibilities towards my children, including financially. Let's see what happens with that. Just waiting now to get a court date, but they said that can be months away. On to the hardest part, telling my kids. I'll be honest, I haven't. The first couple of weeks I just said Mom had cancelled again when they asked, and the eldest in particular seemed pretty relieved at this both times, and last weekend they didn't even ask. It's been over a month now since they've seen her. The eldest has also told me that he doesn't like going there anyway, as all she does is sleep and shout. He also told me the other day he prefers his new house and he feels more relaxed. I feel terrible, as I was obviously missing signs before that he wasn't fully happy when we were together as a family. At least he's more comfortable now. I had a bit of a wobble last night with my youngest though. He was watching Land Before Time and then he started saying he misses his mom and then started crying. It was full-blown tears and breaking down, and it was awful to see. While I was holding him I started crying, but I made sure he couldn't see. I didn't say anything bad about his mom or tell him she doesn't want to see him anymore. I just hugged him and stroked his hair and told him I'll always be here for him and he can always come to me if he's upset, happy, or just wants to be silly, and I'll never push him away. Once they were in bed I was in pieces. Blaming myself for leaving their mom. Questioning why I couldn't be stronger and live with it for a few more years until they were adults. It was me who left. It's me who's made them drive up and down the country every weekend. Unsettled them. Uprooted their lives. At 2 a.m. this morning I drafted a text to my wife asking her to get back together and to be a mom again. Luckily I didn't send it. I had about 3 hours sleep but feel better this morning. None of her family have been in touch either to try and maintain a relationship with the boys. It's horrible to be honest, but they are the ones missing out on these two amazing kids. One of her cousins messages me every so often, but she asks more about me than kids, so that either feels like ulterior motive or a trap which I'm not falling into. As for my divorce, MG lawyer has said it should hopefully be finalized before Christmas. Not that it'll make much difference. I don't wear my ring and she has a new 20-year-old boyfriend, not the guy she cheated with. Will be nice though to finally be able to say ex-wife and it be official. Update 6. It's been just over 3 months since she said she doesn't want to see them. Within a month of her saying that she changed her mind and did want to see them. I spoke to my lawyer who heard from her lawyer, and my lawyer said since there's nothing official about her giving up her rights I shouldn't stop her as it will look bad on me. I agreed then, but said I am no longer making 2 4-hour round trips every weekend to drop them off. It's up to her to come pick them up. My kids are now both constantly crying saying they don't want to go and they're scared up there as she's always tired and angry. I'm having to console them constantly and it's breaking my heart. First weekend no show no notice. Second weekend she tells me she can't make it. Third weekend some random woman appears at my door and said my ex-wife sent her to pick the kids up. I tell her to leave and never come back. Ex-wife rings the police and tells them I am kidnapping my kids. Police, being the anti-father institution there, turn up and start telling me to take the boys back to their mom. I inform them they haven't seen their mom in months and I'm their primary parent. They don't believe me but eventually do when I show them the kids' school uniform and that they are enrolled in a local school. Her lawyer now says they want mediation. I end up traveling 2 hours for mediation with my lawyer and it's absolute bollocks. The mediator is the most biased person to the point even my ex-wife's own lawyer said, "This isn't right and you are being ridiculous, it looks like we've paid you off," after the mediator's idea of compromise was me taking the kids up there myself, staying in a hotel nearby, giving my ex money to entertain the kids and then being on call to help out if my ex was struggling with them. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We all walked away with Northwest ideas set in place. I told my ex-wife and her lawyer outside. She or her parents come pick the kids up and that's it, there's no other solutions to this. The following weekend her parents are there to pick the kids up. My boys cried and fought and begged not to go and I couldn't stay strong. I broke down and just hugged them on my driveway for as long as it took them both to calm down and I apologized and said, "I don't want this. I want you to forever. I'll see you tomorrow. My ex-father-in-law gave a sorry nod as he led the kids away, and that was it. Later that night I got a screenshot of a conversation my ex-wife had been having with someone saying that she wants more custody so she can start to claim money off me. That night the windows were put through on my house, and this was just the start of a campaign that is still going on now, which I assume is to make me react and look violent. I've had my car vandalized, windows replaced and then smashed again, online accusations made about me, my business hit with 1-star reviews, constant takeaways and taxis ordered to my house. My parents' house and car has also been targeted. It always happens on the Saturday night my kids are up there. I ring the police every time and log it, and they never care. I've got proof it's her cousins after one of them filmed himself on the street next to mine at 2 a.m. and put it on TikTok. Police don't care. This is my life now. The poor kids having to go up there every weekend against their will. Me being constantly threatened. I've had official paperwork from her lawyer saying she's going to be asking for more custody. Me having to bite my tongue and hold my temper while me and my family are attacked and harassed. Having to see hundreds of people attacking my character on Facebook and Twitter as my ex tells everyone that I've turned the kids against her. Getting random men ringing me saying they're going to come and stab me for abusing my ex, having people say there's no smoke without fire and believe all women, etc., etc. I hate the way that this situation is starting to make me become a more hateful person. I'm nuffing biases where I didn't before, and I'm also finding myself to become very untrusting of women, as 95% of the people calling me online are women, and it sounds terrible, but I was watching a show the other day where a woman was talking about her abuse situation, and my first thought was, she's lying to get him in trouble, and then I had to scold myself for victim blaming. This is really messing me up. You try and do everything right and nothing works. All I want is a quiet, safe life for my kids. Update 7. I made an update about 4 weeks ago of all the shit my ex and her family have been doing. The day after the post I'd had enough. I left my boys with my parents and went to see her parents. When I got there they inviting me in, and over a cup of tea I shown them every piece of evidence I have. Screenshots, screen records, CCTV, and then the worst screenshots of messages between my ex and 3 of her friends who all betrayed her and sent me screenshots of messages she'd sent them with plans to make me lose the kids, burn down my business, even gave me killed. Then the worst one was a video from her friend's reeling camera saying she'll tell the police I'm a child abuser in all the worst way possible. I said the police aren't interested, but if I ever hear from any of her family ever again I'll be posting every single bit on social media, every single bit. I told them that she can keep the house and that's it. They rang me that night and apologized and said nothing will happen again and that my ex agrees to the divorce, but can she see the kids 1 weekend a month? I agreed. The next day I rang my solicitor, and between him and hers they agreed all the funeral details, and this morning I got it all back from her signed. Be a few more months until it's official, but it feels like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Got the letter from the courts yesterday. It's actually a lot quicker than expected. They said January or February time, but it all became official yesterday. I celebrated by having a McDonald's and watching Christmas movies with my boys. Story 2. Ex-friend asked me about our relationship over 10 years ago. How to respond. So this will be a weird one. I made a throwaway for it as I think this is a pretty unique situation that the person in question could very easily figure out is about them, and I don't want them knowing my main. If they even use Reddit. I, male, 35, am happily married with 2 children. My wife, 32, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 4. We were out shopping in our hometown when we ran into my ex-friend, her parents, and her children. She moved out of state over 10 years ago and I haven't seen her since, nor have we had any contact other than Facebook happy birthday wishes. She is married with 2 kids of her own. Anyway, onto the situation. My FIL and her father are friendly with each other. Both retired military and occasionally have breakfast together with their other retired friends. When we ran into each other, ex-friend's dad congratulated my wife and I. We figured my FIL told him we're expecting our 3rd child. I saw my ex-friend look at my wife's belly and then acted distant for the rest of the exchange, whereas she was friendly starting off. We trade pleasantries and say goodbye. My wife and I continue our shopping. By the time we're done I check my phone and see I have a Facebook message from an ex-friend. Ex-friend re-end, it was good to see you again. Me, you too. The family looks good. Ex-friend, yours too. Would you want to grab coffee and catch up? I'm in town for a couple more days. We're actually pretty busy, otherwise I would be down. I'm sorry, ex-friend, I understand. Adulting. Can I ask you a question? Sure, what's up? Ex-friend, was I just not your type? What do you mean, ex-friend? I'm asking what did I do wrong? Didn't respond as this was out of nowhere. Ex-friend, I pursued you for years. We were inseparable for years and you never gave us a real chance. I loved you. Our families loved us. Our friends loved us together, you just never committed all the way to us. You wouldn't even have sex with me and I need to know why. Was I not good enough? Could you not see yourself married to me and having a family together? I didn't respond and I showed the messages to my wife. She knows of this girl and my reasoning for her and I growing apart, mostly because we see her family everywhere, and she asked. My wife told me to be honest with her, but I'm not sure if that's right. It feels mean. I'm going to give my POV on our friendship and I'm hoping I can get some advice on where to go from here. Basically, she and I met through friends in high school. I was very interested, but she was dating someone at the time. She ended up asking me out a month or so later and we went on dates and kissed a few times, though we never had the conversation on being official, hence me calling her friend and not girlfriend. One night while riding in the car, who I thought was ex-BF called her and asked when she'd be over. She didn't have it on speaker, but I could still hear the conversation. She told him, I can't talk right now, and he asked who she's with. She didn't tell him. He later figured it out and messaged me on Facebook asking if I knew they were still together. I apologized and said I didn't and would cut things off. I called her and she started crying, saying she didn't have the courage to tell me they were still together, but she liked me so much and was going to break up with him. I cut her off anyway. Fast forward a few more months and she reaches out and we go through the same motions. Her wanting to be with me but always having another guy messaging her that I would catch out of the corner of my eye. This lasted, embarrassingly, years. Throughout college and our early 20s it was always the same. She'd reach out, we'd reconnect and things begin getting serious again. I'd check her social media and see she just broke up with someone. We even went on vacation to the mountains together for a weekend and the same thing. She had literally just been there a month ago with her ex. The trip with me was her idea. The worst part is both our families really did love us together. My parents were never rude to my girlfriends but would ask me how my ex-friend is doing these days. Or snide remarks about how her parents miss me. Hell, even my now FIL at one point mentioned that ex's dad brought up how he really thought I'd be his son one day. I confided in my friends years ago that I'm always just a rebound or backup plan and that's why I could never commit or get more physical with her. They told me to just sleep with her when she comes calling and don't pursue anything more. The problem was I wanted more but felt used. Anyways, every time we would plan things out where sex was more than likely on the table, I'd see a guy message her or I'd see a post on social media and it just killed my enthusiasm. When I say that I mean literally. It crushed my confidence every single time. One of my best friends told me I didn't have to pay attention to all that and could have just had my fun with her. Didn't mean I had to chase a relationship with her knowing I was always a rebound. That felt shitty to me. I had other girlfriends here and there but I wanted this girl. We just clicked, you know. But it's like some sort of goddamn mystical being was showing me a sign every single time things were going to progress our relationship. I just didn't want her to be getting over someone else or having someone on back burner when we'd reconnect. Maybe that's my own insecurity, but I know how I felt and it didn't feel good. So I slowly distanced myself. After a short amount of time passed, I met my wife. She met her husband and our lives moved on with little to no contact until the other day. I haven't responded to the message and it's been 2 days. I was thinking of just lying and saying it's not her fault or just not responding, but my wife is insisting I tell her the whole thing. I know this is a word wall, but I'm honestly conflicted. I told my wife I was going to ask others for their opinion and I'm considering the internet as my others. Update. Thank you everyone for responses. I decided to listen to the majority and responded to ex-friend A. The response was well received and we chatted the rest of the week and met up on the weekend before Easter. The short of it is we're both leaving our partners. A and I are gonna try this relationship again now that we've completely opened up to each other about our true feelings. Thank you all for the encouragement to do this. Couldn't have done it without you. April Fools. I would never. The real update is pretty anticlimactic, unfortunately. I ended up just never responding to A. It had already been 5 days by the time I read through every response and decided to just let it go. My wife was fine with that but told me to block her if she messages again. We did a couple Easter egg hunts with different family members yesterday, including at my FIL's. They have a decent-sized property and host quite a few people, so I wasn't surprised to see non-family members. I was, however, surprised when A's parents were there with her children. After all the adults scattered and hid the eggs and the kids started their search, A's dad came over to chat with me, nothing out of the ordinary, and we shot the shit for a few minutes. Towards the end, I asked if the kids were staying with them for Easter, and he basically told me A and her husband were having some troubles and they needed some time alone to sort things out. He didn't go into specifics, so I don't know exactly what troubles are, but congratulations to those of you who called that one. For now, this should conclude the story. If she does happen to reach out again and I feel it's worth letting you all know what it says, then I will. Otherwise, thanks again. Story 3. I just broke up with someone I thought was the love of my life. I swear I thought this guy was the one. He was literally perfect, everything I asked for in a partner. Until we were laying in the bed and some random girl called him. I didn't think much of it as I have male friends also, but he answered and referred to me as company instead of saying, "I'm with my GF." I asked him twice who it was and he lied to my face as we laid next to each other. Something told me he was lying, and sure enough he was. The conversations I saw between them did look innocent and friendly, besides one message where she called him sexy, which was very inappropriate and he should have shut it down there. But he had more than enough opportunities to stop it and be truthful to me. I have male friends also, so I'm not sure why he felt the need to lie to me, but this isn't the first time it happened. I told him that lying is a deal breaker for me, and the next time it happens, we're done. I'm just really struggling because we've been together 3 going on 4 years. We don't live together, but we had plans to do so after I graduated nursing school next month to start our future together. I'm not sure why I'm not good enough not to be lied to. I was the most chill GF. I never required much. I never asked for his location, never went through his phone, and always gave him space for us to actually miss each other. We saw each other maybe once a week. I know I'm not Beyonce, but I'm a pretty attractive female with so much going for myself. I have bought my own car, have my own place, graduating nursing school next month, and already have an ICU job lined up. I'm still not sure how that's not enough to be faithful and honest to. I'm just feeling so embarrassed because I spoke so highly about him to everyone. I'm so defeated and hurt that our relationship came to this, but I can't be with someone who lies to me. I have no appetite. My stomach is churning and I just feel so sick. It's hard, but I have to put myself first. If anyone has any advice on how to overcome these nightmare of emotions, I'm open to any advice. Edit. I guess I should have said what the lie was, since people are telling me I made an irrational decision. As he laid back down beside me, I obviously asked him who that was since he referred to me as company. Whenever he's talking with his guy friends, he always tells them he's with his GF. He proceeds to say, it's some random friend's name I've never even heard of, girlfriend. I ask him again who it was because he has a stupid look on his face, and my intuition is telling me he's lying. He said the same thing, it was someone's GF. So I say, okay, let me call her to make sure she's okay. If someone called me at the hours of 2230, I'd want to make sure that they're okay and ask them what's up. That's when he gets all defensive, calls her himself and says, J************ are we F********* ing? 'Cause my girl don't believe me. Mind you, I never asked him if they had sex. She answers and is like, what? You told me you didn't have a GF. We've been together for 3 going on 4 years. I've also caught him flirting on Twitter with other girls, which is essentially the first time, which he lied about as well. I made it extremely clear if I find out that he's been flirting with other girls, making it seem like he's single and / or he lied to me, we're done. Story 4. I hired an investigator and have discovered my husband's affair and sex addiction. What on earth do I do next? My husband, 47, and I, female, 44, have been married for just over a decade, and it has been, for the most part, a loving marriage centered around our 2 beautiful children. Of course, I've had grievances. He travels a lot for work, is constantly glued to his phone, and sometimes would abruptly pop out for errands that he has always been incredibly vague about. Initially, these didn't concern me too much. He has a very demanding job that has allowed us to have a lifestyle I never thought possible, meant that I could leave work to be with the children, take us on wonderful holidays, send the children to a great school. I always felt that complaining to him about his work, phone, computer, and random emergencies would be so selfish considering everything he does for us. However, 2 weeks ago, I started getting really suspicious after I had found a condom in the inside pocket of his blazer. There was no reason for him to have it there as we only ever have sex at home and, frankly, it isn't something we do as often as we used to. This prompted me to do something I never thought I would do, but I found an opportunity to get into his phone when he wasn't looking. I'm not sure what I was looking for. I first looked at his photos but couldn't find anything. Then I thought I would check his messaging apps, WhatsApp, Telegram, both were password locked, which I found very odd. Only iMessage could be accessed, but there was barely anything there. At this point, I had a sinking feeling something was up. Last year, a friend was in a similar situation and used a digital investigator to learn more about her absent and secretive fiancé. The investigator found out that this man had been living a complete double life, with a long-term girlfriend in Edinburgh, and, unbelievably, a whole business he had set up and was earning money from. She had no idea about the business or all the money he was earning from it, and no doubt spending on his girlfriend. I asked for the investigators' details and requested that they pull together anything and everything they could find about my husband. The investigator spent about a week digging online and came back to me with a report that changed my life forever. I got a call from the investigator, warning me that my husband's report would be a very difficult read, and that I should open it in private at a time when I would be able to process it fully. Since I received it, I have barely been able to eat, sleep, properly take care of the kids, or speak to him, and yet he is so absent-minded he doesn't even realize something is wrong. It turns out that my husband of over 10 years has been having an affair with a woman 15 years his junior, financing this woman's lifestyle and her failed business venture, attending sex parties with her, where they have sex with other partners, posting in a revolting online sex forum, including pictures of his genitals, and details his addiction to porn and escorts to his creepy online friends. Based on this post online, has clearly been spending thousands on escorts as far back as 7 years ago. I have no idea where to go from here. I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to confront him about this, or if I should see a lawyer first. I know the obvious decision is to simply divorce, but our children are 9 and 7, I have loved him since we first met 14 years ago, and I know that I have a place in his heart too, in spite of these actions. If he is truly an addict, then maybe there is a way to get through this if he agrees to treatment. I am a complete mess and I can't talk about this to anyone in person just yet. Any advice you have for me would be really appreciated. Story 5. I chose to believe my husband's lies. I don't even know where to begin. I found out my husband was cheating on me, and after everything I've learned, I still chose to believe his version of the story. Now, I'm trying to make sense of it all, but I'm stuck in a situation I don't know how to get out of. We've been married for 12 years, and like many long-term relationships, we've had our ups and downs. But for the most part, I thought we had a strong marriage. Sure, we've had our intimacy issues, mainly because of my illness, but I thought we could work through them. I thought we had a future. But after discovering the affair, I'm realizing I was wrong. The truth came to light when I found out about his emotional and physical relationship with someone else. But instead of facing the hard truths, I chose to believe the lies he fed me. I didn't want to know the truth because it would shatter everything I thought I knew about our relationship. It would mean accepting that he had been lying to me for months, possibly years. So, I decided to pretend everything was fine, to forgive him quickly, and to try to move on, even though deep down, I know it's not the same anymore. The most painful part is knowing that our marriage is a shell of what it should be. We haven't had a real, meaningful connection in a long time because of my illness. Our intimacy is non-existent, and I've been trying to avoid facing the fact that he's probably been looking for love and affection elsewhere for a while now. I feel inadequate, like I'm not enough for him, and that's something I can't ignore. Yet, instead of leaving, I just accepted his apologies and chose to forgive him, even if it doesn't feel right. I've realized that I'm not just trapped by the affair, I'm trapped by my own refusal to accept reality. I want to believe that everything will go back to normal, that we can fix things, but I know that's not the truth. Our marriage is already dead in so many ways, and I don't know how to fix something that was never really whole to begin with. I'm stuck between wanting to hold on to a relationship that doesn't exist anymore and needing to accept the painful truth of what's really happening. I'm lost in this cycle, and I'm not sure how to move forward, especially when part of me doesn't even want to face the consequences of my choices. I know I've chosen to ignore the truth, to live in denial, but I don't know what to do now. How do I face the reality that my marriage is broken, and that maybe I've been settling for far too long? How do I stop lying to myself, and how do I begin to heal when I'm not sure I even want to? If anyone has been in a similar situation, I'd appreciate hearing your experiences. I'm at a crossroads and don't know how to get out of this mess I've created for myself. Story 6. Why my wife always creates a scene whenever there is an outing or visiting planned with people who are primarily my friends. Me, male, 35, and my wife, 36. We dated for a year, followed by 1 year live-in, and now it's been a year since we got married. Post the initial dating phase, I noticed this pattern. Whenever there is an outing planned with or visiting planned at people who are primarily my friends, long-time friends ranging from 5 to 25 years of friendship, the very same day she will pick up a huge quarrel or argument. It would not be about the visit or going out, but it would absolutely be on the same day. The structure of the argument will be that it would trigger from a very small thing, and she would pour out all her problems with me throughout our relationship and say that the trigger point was nothing, it's just that she had these things in her mind for quite some time and she had to speak it out. Those points will be nothing new, the same 4 to 5 things I have heard, acknowledged and apologized for over and over again each and every time we have a quarrel. What I am not able to understand is why this coincidence. Why it happens exactly the day we had planned to go out with my friends. This is not an one-off case. Ever since I noticed the pattern, I started counting it, and the count was 9/11 in the 6 months. The result would be that we would go there in a gloomy mood and stay very quiet. This doesn't happen if the visit is with any of her friends, it's only if the visit is at my friends, not any specific one or group, any friend. P.S. Earlier, initially in relationship, she created huge scene when I met some of my friends alone. So I never go alone, always take her along. Now I am an avoidant personality. I just stopped going, rejecting any invite for my friends by making some excuse or the other. They got the sense and thereafter stopped inviting me, and voila. The quarrels stopped. Now we had recently changed city, and I have a bunch of friends here as well. I tried to keep it a secret so that I don't have to visit them. But they got to know. Yesterday we were driving when they added me in a chat group and started planning a meetup for the night. This popped up on the car display and just within 15 minutes, her mood changed completely. I sensed this and I messaged them that it won't be possible for me today, but didn't tell her that to check if my hypothesis is correct. And voila, the same pattern repeats, same fight, same argument and everything. Are there anyone in the sub facing or has faced this kinda issue? What can be the reason of this? What am I missing? P.S. I tried to point out once that do you have a problem with me having friends? Why do you always do this when we have to go somewhere? Her response was, how dare you project me as something I am not. Updates. It's not that we will not go to the gathering/party. Before I started rejecting the invites, we have gone every time except once. Even so that after the fight, if I say I am not in mood to go, she would force me to go like no, we have to go. If we don't go your friends will think I am the culprit or you are just doing this to make me appear as the bad person to your friends. Since I don't talk to anyone anymore, having you all responding was, how do I put it? I can't be thankful enough. Reading and replying felt like I am with my friends who would really try to help me with suggestions and solutions, well of course before making fun of the situation, which is also great, helps to reduce the intensity/graveness of the situation. Anyways, the bottom line is I am really grateful to have listening ears, even if anonymous strangers, it felt good. No, it felt great. Thanks everyone for taking out time and responding. Thank you so much. Update 2. Someone in the comments section asked for what are those 4 to 5 things that she brings up every time. I responded and the person pointed out that I should have included it in the original post because it changes everything, and that she is justified in her behavior. So I am posting them here, as truthfully as possible. My intention is not to gain any pleasure by getting support from me and hearing comments against my wife. I really want to understand the problem. 1. I had been what a lot of people would call a player, and done a lot of casual dating before marriage. Which I have only told her everything about to come clean with. I told her in the beginning that this is my past, if you have any issues then we will not go forward. Then she said she is okay. Now she brings this up and says this is an unresolved issue. However, ever since we started dating I have been completely away. Blocked all old contacts. 2. I lied to her once. I met with a few of my friends alone, one of them had to catch a flight and was getting late, so I went to drop him. When she called, I didn't say I was going to drop him and said we are still at the bar. Why did I lie, as I felt if I say I have gone to the airport, she will create a scene. But he checked my Maps history and found out. 3. She complains I don't do enough at home and leave everything on her. Which is a blatant lie. We have our tasks shared as per her agreement, and we do it with responsibility for our part. Why am I calling it a lie? Because when she brings this up and I say give me an example/incident, she will say, I don't have an example but you don't do enough. 4. I am a quiet introvert person, I don't express myself, I go numb when I see someone else emotional. This is a genuine issue and I am into therapy on myself to address this, which I haven't told her. But this leads to another thing, that since I shut down during and after an argument, she calls this a silent treatment used to abuse her. And since I am not good at handling emotion, she can't express herself to me, and that makes her feel lonely. 5. Her close friends have achieved a lot, moving to a better country, buying apartments, having kids, wealth, etc. I am a qualified, well-salaried person. I come in top 0.3% of the people, but I had focused on enjoying life, spending on experiences, travel, cars. But not much on savings and asset building. Moreover, I lost my job within 3 months of getting married and was unemployed for about 7 months. So I had not been able to give her the life she imagined with me off late. She makes this an issue. I feel there was no dearth of me trying to get a job, however. She also accepted that I am trying hard. You will get a sense of it if you visit my comments section on my profile. In context of meeting friends, I don't feel 3 to 4 hours on a weekend, twice a month would have a huge effect on job search. 6. Once she had her friend, spouse, and kid over at our place for a couple of days. Kids love me, so I spent most time with the kid and talked a little less with them. Moreover, I was going through a tough time at job and one night we were drinking and I slept early. But the next day I drove them down to a tourist place, and drove around 500 kilometers. But somehow she felt I was mistreating them, and they also said something about me behind my back to her. She really loves to bring this up in spite of that before and after this, she had friends, family, relatives over, staying at our place, and all of them have just praised me with adjectives like, gem of a person, super cool guy, best guy, etc. One of her friends even went to the extent to say that, I wish my husband was like him, etc. Of course behind my back, but she told me that's why I know. But still she would bring up that one particular couple who bitched about me to her and said I had misbehaved with them. Story 7. Husband is screaming and threatening to divorce me on Christmas Eve over a friend's mailed cookies. Basically today went from perfectly fine to my husband throwing a screaming swearing fit and saying he wants a divorce in 15 minutes. Over some cookies his friend mailed to us. His close friend makes hundreds of cookies to send to their friends every Christmas. For the last 2 years I have not been able to eat flour for medical reasons, so the cookies are not for me. The friend knows this about me. This is the second year that this has happened. I mentioned to my husband that I wished that they had sent something that I could have too, and he lost his mind. After he started screaming and swearing, I compared it to his brother's family sending us wine 2 years in a row when they know I don't like wine and never drink it, and my husband likes wine. That's not a gift for both of us, it's a gift for my husband. Which is fine, but it's not very thoughtful if you say it's for both of us. Of course I'm not saying this to anyone else or seeming ungrateful towards them. I'd never do that. But my husband often gets rabidly defensive of other people instead of siding with me, his wife, even just when I make a comment to him at home, which I rarely even do, only when the behavior repeats. I said that he was overreacting and to stop screaming at me, and he started yelling that someone has to tell me how rude I am and someone has to tell me how I'm a terrible person. Then he started on that he doesn't want to celebrate Christmas with me and that he wants a divorce and is going to file for divorce, and then tried to kick me out of the house. To which I said I'm not leaving because this is also my house. This is not the first Christmas that he has done something similar. But I thought he was over it because it's been a few years since he has thrown a gigantic fit on Christmas or Christmas Eve. My family is across the country and I've only spent one Christmas at home in the last 12 years, which was last year. I didn't go home this year, so I have no one else to spend Christmas with but him. At this point I don't want to finish wrapping any of the presents I got for him, but I want to throw them in the garbage. I want to burn the custom sweatshirt with his favorite dog's face. And I want him to give me the presents my parents bought for me that he is wrapping, and for him to just leave me alone. We were in couples therapy for a couple sessions recently, but he decided he didn't like the therapist and that she was unqualified and he quit. He's supposed to find us a new therapist that he approves of, but he hasn't yet. TLDR, My husband way overreacted to a comment about Christmas cookies and screamed and threatened divorce on Christmas Eve. Edited to add, this is not the first time he said he wants a divorce. It's what he says when he gets mad. But he's been saying it with more intent lately, which is why we'd started the therapy. He'll say that I am the best ever and he loves me and will never leave, then 5 minutes later he's screaming over something and saying he wants a divorce. Extremely hot and cold. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a like, share it with someone, and subscribe for more stories that inspire, provoke, and connect us. Thank you.